Sometimes you have those kind of friends that despite of all of the time that you spent with them, all the conversations that you had with them, they never learn. And one of them is Viqueria because despite what we have said and told them before that they are pricing their watches extremely affordable, well, they have not learned. So I guess one watch pirate's loss is another watch pirate's gain. So why not take advantage of it? Is it not? So in this video, we're going to discuss and review another one of their models, the new dive watch, the Trecento, which is 300 for Italian, and how this extremely affordable watch delivers a lot of features that you could take advantage as a watch pirate. Because Viqueria just never learns. All joking aside, stating that this brand is incapable of learning is as far from the truth as dental hygiene is to a pirate. They learned quite a bit in the years, and it shows in the design decisions that they are making. They're now starting to use more modern materials such as ceramic bezels, and in this case, a more modern, well, case design. Granted, them using some of the more familiar components in the past is likely because of the more cost-effective approach, but having that as the only reason to slap on a vintage style tag is not reason enough for this watch pirate. Because I believe that you can achieve vintage era aesthetics without compromising in the engineering department. On my 6.25-inch wrist, this feels like a miniature Leviathan that's trying to squeeze into a tiny plank. That 48.5mm lug distance is great for my puny appendage, but that height is not eluding anyone. Here's another improvement from Viqueria. That is a very easy to turn and springy sounding bezel. It feels much more premium now to handle because it's got a heavy weighted bezel and a luxurious insert to the touch of your fingertips. This chunky sea lover is also a lot more complicated now, much like a pirate lady that knows the difference between a kitchen and the office. Well, it's also kind of appropriate because they all seem to lose track of time in those locations. This diver comes equipped with a collar's GMT, which one can argue that is unnecessary for a 300-meter dive watch, which also has a helium escape valve for, reasons. But that's okay. If you wanted to find a reason to wear this watch because of its specs, just imagine that this is what you would wear if you're going to dive with a submarine, travel the length of the Atlantic, all while strapped to the outside of the torpedo bay. Not really the most savory of demise, but at least the last thing that you'll see are the two beautiful colored luminovas on the dial while your body collapses within itself for every meter of descent. We all know waiting for your dad can be a bore, so Viqueria tossed in a rubber strap so at least you can have something to fiddle with while your breath expires. It takes a tool to dislodge this bracelet though, and yes, I'm talking about the metal kind. The rubber strap is very soft and easy to handle, making for a very comfortable wear no matter what the occasion or incident, as most watch pirates are often associated with. It also has a considerable length, so it should strap on to even the beefiest and manliest wrists that it could find. But on more diminutive arms like mine, some extra rubber might flap recklessly in the wind. But that's fine too. Sometimes it feels nice to have some part of you flopping onto the wind without a care in the world. Like, your watch pirate arms. Watch piracy of the serious kind is, of course, not something that we should tolerate from the hobby. But in watch design, we can adapt some elements from watches that are often out of reach. It's no secret that this case design borrows heavily from Panerai's case, which was a heavily documented partnership with Rolex ages ago. It has seen some serious evolution since then, and now it's become so mainstream that similar case designs are now being offered to microbrand prospects. In Viqueria's case, they added a display case back to showcase that very rare caliber inside, because, reasons. On the top side, the signature crown guard of Panerai is absent, a good choice, though the case shape is very similar. The lug from Viqueria is more forgiving here, and they stoop down to your wrist more than the submersible. The Panerai submersible has these really massive lugs compared to its case proportions, so it tends to overhang over many smaller wrists. When it comes to the bezel department, the submersible is known for its raw and brutal clicks, something that falls out of favor from this watch pirate. I do prefer the springy kind from Viqueria. If there was a near identical design element, the buckle is pretty much the rebranded buckle of Panerais. Of course, it doesn't have that crispness from this popular Italian watchmaker, but it would be very hard to tell from a few feet away. There's only a couple of comments on this watch. Len said, "Hi, it looks as thick as a brick." Yes, I think that's pretty much the intention. Some people actually like that bulky impression. Robert has a few issues with the watch. The bracelet is a bit too tattly, the helium escape valve is unnecessary, and a different handset would also work for him. I do think that this handset was meant to resemble that of Panerais, but I do agree that a different handset would have worked better with this kind of design. I do disagree with the bracelet as I find it suitable enough for its price point. However, they could have chosen a much better class as I truly loathe this kind of fold-over design. Going deeper into the dial, the resemblance to the Panerai submersible is very apparent. I guess you can pass this off as Italian elegance simply by association with the popular Italian brand. The double baton 12, the round indexes, and even the branding proportions would really remind you of an offering from Panerai. I mean, just look at it. If you didn't see the crown side, you might really think that this could have come from the same Panerai collection. They did add a few hints of color on the hands and dial to separate the Trecento away from the submersible. That's a good choice in my book as it ensures the watch will grow into its own. Well, hopefully. The biggest separator was the bezel insert with its deep color and shimmering surface. It really adds to the rest of the dial's elements. For a watch that's worth under $500, the quality and cleanliness, even at an extreme magnification, is very commendable. It's really lovely, especially over these subtle sunray finishes. As much as I would prefer a more rounded handset to go along with these rounded themes, these skeletonized hands do show a lot more off the dial. A dial that also comes equipped with a good amount of colored accents and very potent lume. With all of the large dial elements, there is more than enough space to apply the two different hues of BGW Super Luminova. Whether it's on the dial or the bezel, this light show really comes alive as expected. With so many design elements found in the history of horology, it's really not a simple feat to stand out from the crowd, much more innovative. It takes a considerable amount of resources to develop something unique, something that most brands don't even have the luxury of spending. In a way, it's a reflection of the typical watch enthusiast. Not everyone can afford a Panerai after all. But if you look at a different part of Italy, there might be a Viqueria that's waiting for your attention. This one in particular offers quite a bit more than the usual Viqueria offering and even against other micro brands. I'm seriously doubting that Viqueria is even profiting from these releases. Hey, if they won't listen, I guess it's something that we could take advantage of. And that is the Trecento from Viqueria. It's a very capable GMT diver. There is a discussion, of course, to be said or to be had whether a GMT is necessary for a dive watch. I definitely do agree that it is not necessary, but it's nice. It's nice to have a GMT feature on your watch, no matter what kind of watch it is. And let's be honest too, that very rarely that many of you are going to actually use that. You generally buy the watch for its looks, and this is a good-looking 300-meter dive watch, and it's got that Italian style, so to speak, because it homages Panerai with their cushion case, except for the wart that Mr. Zelos obviously hates still to this day. And again, history dictates that that cushion case did not originally come from Italy. It was an original British design from Rolex. Well, even Rolex, I think, used that somewhere else. But nevertheless, that's the main profile of the Trecento. It has that Panerai bulkiness, manliness, pirateness that they have, and the most striking feature is still again the price. So take advantage of this. It's a well-spec diver with a very solid and affordable price coming from Viqueria. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this model release from Viqueria, and hopefully we'll have the time to actually edit that new show that we had that we've been postponing for 2 months. But there's a good reason for us to postpone that show for 2 months. But hopefully we can get back to that schedule sometime soon. So comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this Viqueria. Take advantage of it. Right now it's live. Buy one until it lasts. I think there's some models that are already sold out, and it's another good offering from Viqueria, solid offering from Viqueria, and that's something that you could actually take advantage of. Their loss.